Well, as its relations with Washington cool over the war in Ukraine, Russia is also facing rising tensions with one of its old allies. Azerbaijan is accusing Russian police of killing two of its citizens. Their deaths have triggered yet another escalation in diplomatic tension between the two countries. So what is behind this scandal, and what does it reveal about Russia's influence in the region? Our correspondent Sergei Satanovsky takes a closer look.
Arrest of a group of Russians in Azerbaijan. They are accused of cybercrimes and drug trafficking. And this is how a raid ended at the Baku office of the Russian state agency Sputnik Azerbaijan. Two employees were detained on suspicion of money laundering and fraud. The crackdown on Russians in Azerbaijan followed the deaths of brothers Ziadin and Gusein Safarov in Russia. They died in Yekaterinburg in late June, amid mass detentions of members of the Azerbaijani diaspora. Hassan died in a police station, Ziadin in a police car. Russian security services were supposedly checking their possible links to murders from the 2000s. Russia says heart failure caused their deaths. Azerbaijan claims the brothers were beaten to death.
The autopsy revealed hemorrhages in the brain's soft and hard tissues, as well as blunt injuries to the chest with multiple displaced rib fractures on both sides.
The Kremlin plays down Baku's emotional statements.
Russia has never threatened and does not threaten Azerbaijan. And even what actually became the root cause was the investigative actions and work to solve the crime, including against Azerbaijani citizens on Russian territory.
The tit-for-tat response from Azerbaijan would have been unthinkable just a year ago, analysts say. This video captures the moment when relations between Russia and Azerbaijan began to sour. In December last year, an Azerbaijan Airlines plane crashed after being hit by Russian air defenses. 38 people died. Azerbaijan believes that the tone of Putin's apology irritated Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev.
Azerbaijan is not satisfied with Russia's stance on the plane incident, so it is generally looking for reasons and using any opportunity to show that this conflict is not over, that it could continue and even escalate.
Despite distancing itself politically from Moscow, Azerbaijan is unlikely to break economic ties between the two countries.
Azerbaijan wants the economy to stay separate from politics, and the same goes for Armenia, even as it distances itself from Russia. It hasn't left the Eurasian Economic Union. Economic ties bring real benefits.
While economic ties between Azerbaijan and Russia are expected to continue, it could be dangerous for citizens of both countries to visit each other.
This is a clash at the highest level. There's a Ukrainian saying, when the lords fight, the peasants suffer. There are certain tensions at the top, but as always, ordinary people on both sides pay the price.
For now, the aggressive rhetoric has died down, but both sides could re-escalate at any moment.
All right, I want to bring in now our correspondent, Sergei Satanovsky, who filed that report. He joins us from Riga in Latvia. You may remember DW is banned from reporting in Russia. Sergei, many post-Soviet regimes, they are reluctant to risk falling out of favor at the Kremlin. Why do you think Azerbaijan is risking this now?
Well, you're right. Baku has indeed engaged in what is likely the most significant public clash with Moscow in the history of their relations. And Azerbaijan has now not only accused Russia of killing its citizens, but it has also cancelled all cultural events somehow related to Russia until the end of the year. So, first of all, this is a clear show of strength from Azerbaijan. It is basically sending a signal to Russia, whose influence in the region is waning because of its deep involvement in the war in Ukraine. If you, for example, look at last week's talks between between the leaders of Azerbaijan and Armenia, they talked directly for the first time without any Russian mediation. So that also highlights Moscow's weakening role in South Caucasus. And secondly, for Azerbaijan's president, Ilham Aliyev, picking a fight with Russia just works in his favor at home. For example, it helps him look like a strong leader who can stand up to Moscow and keep people's minds off economic problems. And abroad, it shows the West that Azerbaijan is not on Russia's side at the time when Moscow is waging its war in Ukraine.
I hear what you're saying, and yet at the same time, Azerbaijan can hardly afford a full-fledged break with Moscow. Its economy is too closely tied to Russia's. So is this all then for show? Is it just for the optics?
Well, it's true that despite Aliyev's efforts to show some distance from Russia, the two countries' economies are closely linked, as you said, and both sides benefit from that. On the one side, Azerbaijan benefits from cheap Russian oil. On the other, it controls the north-south transport corridor, which moves goods between Russia and Europe on the one side and India and Iran on the other. And that's why, as also the analysts said in the report, Azerbaijan wants to keep politics separate from business. So any tensions between the two countries are likely to go only so far and never far enough to hurt those economic ties.
And we're not hearing much from Moscow. It has remained rather passive in this conflict. Do we know why?
Well, that's right. Russia has stayed calm in response to even the harshest statements coming out of Azerbaijan. It seems that because of the war in Ukraine, Moscow doesn't have the resources or maybe the political will to get dragged into another conflict abroad, especially with a country Russia considers its strategic partner. So I guess in Moscow, this dispute is seen as blown out of proportion, and the hope is that it would fade away as quickly as it started, and in many ways, that's basically what we're seeing right now.
Okay, our correspondent Sergei Setanovsky with the latest. As always, Sergei, thank you.